Well, Daddy Owen and Timmy Tdat join us shortly in studio to help us understand exactly what's happening. But in studio right now, I have Peter Koigi, who's the head of marketing at MCSK, that's Music Copyright Society of Kenya. And I have Majimaji, who's an artist, performing artist, and he's a veteran in the industry. Perhaps he was in the industry when there were no royalties. Perhaps there was no kind of payment made. So just to get a perspective of what happened, Seth has explained this Koigi really well. How this money was divided and distributed. But I think that does not kill the vibe, sort of. It doesn't make these artists who feel they should get more quiet because they're still making noise. And as early as this morning, I saw a recording from a number of other artists also talking about this. So we just want to understand, and we couldn't have an opportunity to call everyone to sit here. So if you have a question to MCSK also, we'll open the phone lines shortly for the artists who want to ask questions or to understand this. But let's put it into perspective. Let's understand. Divide this for us. How comes everyone who received the money received 2,500 shillings, because 30 shillings was Yakutoa, and it was made very clear. How comes everyone, because this was divided in performance, the 2 months, right?
Yes, yes.
Most of them perhaps did not even perform, but all of them got 2,500. Some performed more than others. How was this divided?
Okay, thank you very much. MCSK has what we call the distribution rules. And these distribution rules were actually passed by the members in one of the annual general meetings in previous years. So in the distribution rules, they are very clear, and we have what we call a performance in public place distribution, and then we have what we call a broadcast distribution in layman's terms.
Okay.
So what we did was what we call a performance in public places. So this money collected from the bar owners, the matatu industry, the other PSVs like the online cabs and the like. So once we aggregate all this amount of money, we did what we call a general distribution to all the members by virtue of you being a member of MCSK.
Okay.
So it was divided across board.
Okay.
Later on towards the end of the year, equally. Regardless.
Or as the president says, regardless.
Yes, as long as you're a member of MCSK, you are entitled to something.
To something, whether you performed or not.
Whether you performed or not.
But how do you give me and I didn't perform?
But you have songs.
I have songs, but I didn't perform them. Why are you paying me?
You perform them in wherever you come from.
Okay.
Yeah, because...
Average this for me. Average how much these collections are.
Okay.
And this was over 2 months.
Yes.
Is this an annual collection from the stickers that we see on PSVs? Where do you get this collection from?
Okay. First of all, the 44 million shillings that MCSK distributed was an amount that we got for only 2 months.
2 months, yes.
That is May, when you got into operations, May and June.
What do you mean when you got into operations? MCSK has been in operation for
We didn't have a license to actually collect.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So when we were actually licensed by the Kenya Copyright Board to start collecting and us laying the systems in place, so we went live on 1st of May.
Okay. What have you been doing with policemen on the roads, harassing matatus, if you say you didn't have a license to perform? I always see them standing at your stadium with policemen.
Yes, currently as from May.
No, even before May, this has been happening. I've been seeing stickers on cars with MCSKs, stickers on cars allowing them to play those music in the matatus. So you've been doing this illegally?
No, like I said, as from May. I can actually support that. As from May this year, so for May and June, we collected 44 million, and whatever we collected, we distributed everything to the artists.
Okay.
Yes.
Joint collection, as Seth reports, collectively goes to beyond 180 million shillings.
18.
Joined 118.
Yes.
Joint collection.
Yes.
What was distributed from your collection was less than that.
It was actually 56% because we share in certain ratios.
Okay.
So MCSK's 56% was 44 million.
Okay.
Out of the 80 million after deducting the 30% admin cost. Because for us to go to the field to collect that money, we need the licensing officer, we need an office, we need that car, we need to fuel it, we need also the policemen.
So to be you take 100% and distribute 56%.
No.
So 44%
70%.
You distribute 70%.
Yes.
But the 56 is from the joint collection.
Yeah, 50.
Once and you are entitled to 56.
Yes.
All right. Does this make sense? Does it make sense to you?
It doesn't make sense in terms of the number of members they're distributing to, but it makes sense in terms of resource management.
Okay.
I think once they say they 70-30, it is 70 that was passed by members. But at the same time, I think he has not explained that they've given other CMOs, of the 100% CMOs have taken off some percentage, yes? Other CMOs.
We share in a ratio because we're doing what we call a joint collection exercise. Rather than you having
everyone doing its own collection.
Yeah, so let me get it. MCSK collects all, then divides to camp and PRISC.
No, it's KPM.
Okay.
That is camp, PRISC, and MCSK collects
jointly,
jointly into one account. All the direct costs are removed, that is, which are equivalent to about 30%.
Okay.
The balance of the 70% is shared in the ratio of 56%, and the rest to camp and PRISC. So because we administer different rights, that is where we should have started. We administer different rights. MCSK represents authors, composers, arrangers, publishers. Camp PRISC represents represent the producers of sound recording and audiovisual works, and PRISC represent the performers of audiovisual works too. So in the process, these are different rights held by different organizations for different members. So we must share in a ratio that will cater for all the members, whether you are a producer, whether you are an artist.
So the money in question we are talking about here is money that MCSK has distributed.
Yes, 56%.
I still have a question. I have a question on that, Majima,
Yes.
even as you try and understand that. And to allow Daddy Owen and Timmy Tdat come in, I like just one more time, Diana, if you could just play the story from Seth Olale, because he really breaks it down really well, just to allow the two artists to join us.
They say money makes the world go round, and off the spin, musicians' complaints have been doing the rounds on social media after 14,467 of the artists Tuesday evening each received 2,530 shillings as royalties from the Music Copyright Society of Kenya.
So in total, one song, when you see a song by maybe Mercy Masika on TV, it has costed that lady more than 100 and something, even 200,000. A song like this.
Local artists who are toiling day and night in order to produce quality material for public consumption say that the collective management organizations are not doing enough in terms of revenue collection. They want a permanent solution and they're not ruling out other options.
For me, I would say that is the highest collection distribution that MCSK has ever done.
MCSK Chief Executive Officer Milka Kaluti says there is lack of understanding in distribution of royalties to registered local artists in this payment, which he says amounted to 44 million shillings.
The girls are calling me Yaga.
Last week, the Performance Rights Society of Kenya, PRISK, says it paid out 19 million shillings, with some of its 4,000 members receiving just over 4,000 shillings. This, just like MCSK's 2,500 shillings royalties, was categorized as general payout, where all artists received an equal amount.
Most of their music is being played with the broadcasters, in the radios, in the televisions. So far, we've not started collecting from the broadcasters.
Of the 44 million shillings collected from the music performances in public places, MCSK says it paid 37 million to its registered members, 3 million withholding tax to KRA, 1.2 million shillings was mobile money transaction fees, as 3.5 million shillings was disbursed to international collective management organizations. But the CMOs are still on the spot for under-disbursing. The Kenya Copyright Board says the three CMOs that include Kenya Association of Music Production, PRISK, and MCSK have jointly collected 118 million shillings, distributed 80 million, which is 2% less than the distribution target set by the board as a precondition for licensing. Seth Olale, NTV.
All right, we just had to play that story once more because we needed to put this into perspective, even as Daddy Owen and Timmy Tdat join us in studio. And I'm still here with Peter Koigi and, of course, Majimaji, a veteran. He understands. And as I said from the beginning, perhaps he started performing when there were no royalties. It was unheard of. I don't even know how they made money then. But the interesting thing is this distribution, and the reason why Timmy Tdat and Daddy Owen are up in arms is because of how this money was distributed, and the fact that it was a flat 2,530 ya kutoa. So let's get back to this and perhaps put this into perspective again, because they now join us. How you arrived at distributing this 2,530 per artist?
Okay. We collected 118 million shillings in 2 months, right? Out of this 118 million, we deducted 30% to make sure, this was, we didn't deduct after, but it is the cost of collecting the money. Let me use, that is the right word. It was the cost of collecting the 118 million. So in net form, we had about 80 million shillings. Out of these 80 million shillings, 56% was for the author, composer, arranger, right? 22% was for the producers of sound recording. The other 22% was for performers of that kind of music and also audiovisual acts. So once we got our 44%, by virtue of you being a member, remember in our distribution rules, it's very clear that we'll have different classes of distribution. There is a broadcast royalty which will be coming towards the end of the year. That one will purely be dependent on the logs or the airplays that each and every artist in Kenya has on all the stations that we have in Kenya. Now for this specific one, based on the constitution that our members actually passed in an AGM, they actually clearly say that they need a general distribution to cater for those artists that, one, they play their music, or their music might not be captured by the systems that we have. Secondly, to make sure that it was equitable, that each and every artist, by virtue of you being a member of MCSK, that you're entitled to, one, either voting, and number two, a royalty.
What percent did you distribute?
All of it.
No, what percentage? As in, out of the kitty, what percentage?
Out of the 44 million collected in 2 months, which has actually been the highest. I can.
Okay, by law, you need to distribute how much? Percentage, by law?
70%.
How much did you distribute?
70%.
Are you sure you distributed
Yes,
the whole figure you had?
the whole thing. Whatever you got, we gave it to the artist.
Okay.
Yes.
Everything you got.
Can the gap is here?
Yes.
That maybe he's also not getting. I haven't been privy to this organization from way back, from Poxy Pressure until now. There was a point a floodgate was opened, and I think in future we need to address it. Either they have a scientific way of distributing this general distribution, or distributing this 2,500 in Kutoa, or they look at how do you become a member. So the problem started here. A floodgate was open.
Anyone can be a member.
Even you can
Today
sing
I
a
can be a
song
member,
and
yes.
register.
With your daughters and your brothers
Some
and your...
people,
And they'll be members.
yeah, some people use this gap.
Okay.
So unapata family moja ina watu 10.
They're all registered members.
Kila mtu anatoa ngoma moja moja moja. So you see that family of 10, today they are not complaining of 2,500 kwa sababu it is 2,500 times 10. They are not legit musicians.
Okay.
So I don't know how we can come up with the criteria, because at the end of the day, legally, a song is a song. I don't know what criteria us members and MCSK can come up with that can reduce the threshold of how to become a member. But that floodgate is the problem.
How many members do we have, Majimani?
I think we have now about...
According to your kitu inaonyesha 13,000.
13,000 members of
13,900.
MCSK.
13,000,
Should be
yes.
about 14,000.
Okay.
Yeah, but then there's another criteria as well.
Yes.
An artist who has been a member for not more than 1 year should not be given general distribution. Then there are people who have not been...
active.
Not active. They've applied for membership but not been approved.
Yes.
So I don't know if you gave it the whole... By the way, I know it's not sensational, but I don't have a problem with how they've distributed, because if I had 10 shillings and I have 10 people who have equal rights,
yes.
I'll give 1 shilling each. Now the problem is, who are these 10 people?
Yeah.
That is where the floodgate got messed up.
Okay.
In the general distribution.
The general distribution,
But
yes.
if were it at...
Are they subscribing? Are you subscribing members of MCSK?
Yes.
What do you use to subscribe? A song?
You take your song, ID, and you become a member.
Just like that?
And there's a registration fee, of course.
Or there's registration fee?
So
Okay.
that is the floodgate, which I can propose in future. From a managerial position, there should be a threshold.
There should be a verification.
Otherwise, anybody,
Okay.
including...
It should be verified.
Including if you recorded your cut and it sounded well,
You can be a
qualify
member
to
of
be a
MCSK.
song.
Okay.
That is where the problem
Let
is.
me hear from Timmy.
Me, first of all, I come from a point of view, as in, sijui niweze setiaje, yani kama si mambuenya tumekuwa tumetoa noma yadi. Nataka na represent watu wangu wa street. Unanipata eh? First of all, ukisema hiyo do watu 13 nikidivide by hiyo kitu haikuji hiyo 2500. Number 1. Number 2, ukisema kila mtu alikuwa na distribute hiyo inaitwaje, hiyo ni general, ndio mtu anapata hiyo 25 na 30 ya kutoa. Kuna mtu jana amenitumia inbox ni 27, simu yangu huko nje, 27 bob ametumia 27 amenitumia. Sasa najiuliza hii 27 unaitoa hata aje, ama ni ndio umetumiwa ikusaidie kufacilitate transaction next, sielewi. Unanipata? Naona hapa hivi kuna tumetoka kwa mazoeano ikapanda kidogo kwa madharau. Unanipata? Sababu huwezi tumia msee do kwanza iko chini ya do aliregister nayo. Niliregister 2012 3000. Sawa? Mimi nimetumia 2500.
Is this the first time you're receiving something from MCSK?
I received 150,000 2014 when we released Welewele, and it was everywhere na hatukupata hata do yoyote. So kenye ilifanya tukapata hii do, tulienda kwa Twitter. Tukaambiwa kamini hapa kwa ofisi.
Really?
Tukaandikiwa check, tukatoka nayo. Sasa sijui mbona lazima ngoja, sijui mbona tunafaa kufika level ya kutoa noma
ndio mpate kitu,
ndio tupate kitu wakati tunafanya muziki tu, kazi inafaa ikue ina flow vizuri. Sijui mbona inafaa ikue hivyo.
Did that really happen? Did that really happen? They walizusha, then they were called to the office and they were paid, because that's not how it should happen.
That has been happening. We have
no that happen.
That
Can I
has been
explain
happening.
this?
Yes.
Can I explain this?
Yes.
So what has been happening with our Kenyan artists? It's very simple. We have a system. And this system, what it does, if your music is not on our system, number one, it puts it on a section of it called an identified works.
Unidentified
Works.
Okay.
Yes. So once, like the way he complained, we have to call him, and now once we upload his works
Now
onto
you
the system,
okay.
it's now the system now recognizes and says, hey, by the way, Timmy Tdat has got so many play counts.
Okay,
Hey.
but we didn't have him on this other
But
side.
we didn't have him on this other side.
My question is,
let
me
him just
finish,
finish,
let me
then
finish.
you ask. Yes.
But we didn't have him on this other side.
Yes.
So we take these play counts again and we factor them again. And automatically the money that was allocated for unidentified works is now applied to this particular artist.
Okay.
And that is why he got his 150,000 shillings.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Please, please.
That's a good explanation.
Let me ask.
Yes.
Utasemaje muziki yangu iko area ya unidentified na hiyo ni 2014 na mimi nimeregister 2012 nikalipa tao yangu 3, and by then hiyo hata ni do mingi kuliko yenye nalipa Kenya. Nimeichanga nikaenda, ilikuwa somewhere pale bazaar, nikalipa hiyo do yangu 2012. So nikapewa hiyo ni member, kwanza ilikuwa na text juu how long ku approve ndio ina come through. So 2012 niko approved member. Utaniambiaje by 2014 sijulikani na vitu zangu haziko and I have to complain?
How is that possible?
Okay, what happens
Yes.
when an artist comes to MCSK
Yes.
and registers as,
Yes.
as a member, they don't later on come again to update
yeah,
their
okay.
records on the new music that they have.
They are produced.
They have
So they
produced.
let that work to you people to identify. Oh, kuna hii ngoma ya. So let's update it here.
Yes,
That's
and
what, okay.
it should be proactive from the artists themselves. They know this is my product. I need to take it to this supermarket. That's called MCSK, for them to be able to put it on a shelf, for it to be monitored, for me to get royalties.
Okay.
But if they don't do that, number one, they miss out on the royalty. I know of so many artists. I'll give you a very good example. Maybe he might be one of them, the people who might have complained. Calligraph Jones.
Yes.
when
Actually,
he registered,
among the first people to complain.
thank you, and I saw him.
Yeah.
So Calligraph Jones, if you go to the system, the first CD that he actually brought to MCSK
Yes.
was what is being monitored, right?
Okay.
But he later on he has produced over 5 albums, but he has not made a point of him coming to MCSK and update those works so that he can actually earn them.
So monitor.
Yes. So you'll notice that if I go to a monitoring system, the people or the musicians, the international musicians who have actually uploaded works as far as Tanzania, I can see them top there. That's why, for example, Diamond would actually be number 1 currently. And then number 2, frankly speaking, would be Nyashinsky. Reason being,
they come and update.
They come and update. Okay. But the rest of the artists, they don't. So if I was to do a distribution, if this money, 44 million, was to do a distribution,
where will it go first? The top.
It will go to the top artists.
But I think for the purpose of this discussion,
yes,
I think he needs to define well so that also Timmy that gets it.
Yes.
We are talking about general. We are not talking about the broadcast like umechezwa marangapi kwa radio.
Okay.
Where he's coming from, where he's coming from ni umechezwa marangapi. Okay. Then that will be. But for general, ni kama as per constitution when the members were passed, if you are 10 people and there is 10 shillings, general equal distribution requires kila mtu aende na bob.
But the